Okay. Let's start the class then. Okay. So you try to practice meditation at home. Like I told you last time that when you look outwardly, so much that you couldn't focus. Makes sense? But when you look within, internally, only one source, the breath, the source of your life. So, like you first start to drive, somehow you feel uneasy, but later on you get used to that. And you make peace with your breath. It's fast and not easy. Can I have your number, please? 10. 10? You know your number?
My number? Oh, 3.
When I first start to do meditation, I listen to the external sound, is confusion. Let's say when you sit here, you hear all kinds of sounds, right? The sound of people walking around, talking and so forth. But when you look within, you have only one sound. Have you recognized the sound of your heartbeat? Could you? If you could, that means you have the ability to focus. If you don't, if you have not tried, try to hear it, especially when you do meditation, it's easy for you to listen to your heartbeat, only one heartbeat, that's all. If you listen to other, externally, it's so much sound, so much confusion. Yeah. So that's why meditation is so important. That helps us to refocus our mind. So last time we talked about the 10 kinds of kasina, 10 kinds of things like the earth, the yellow, and so forth, right? And so this is, and actually I try to crop up a little bit so that I have more space here. I don't know how to do this. I want to move up here, but I try very hard.
You have to pull it down, all the way down.
All the way down? Yeah. All the way down, because I want to have space here to try. Yeah, doesn't have the button to push up, otherwise have something just right here. Anyway, so last time we talked about samatha and vipassana, right? Samatha has been concentration, remember that? Mm-hmm. And vipassana has been being mindful whichever things we are doing. But whether we're driving, eating, talking, and so forth, which whenever we move our mind to, we're mindful, that's been vipassana. So vipassana has been series of concentration. And samatha is only one object. You focus your mind on driving, that's all. You focus your mind on eating. Make sense? Okay. And so, anyone of you have problems to do your work? It's easy question. It's easy, so. Okay, this is for number 4. Who done number 4? Not yet? Are you done? Mm-hmm. How about 16 techniques of breath and mindfulness? Last time? Mm-hmm. You remember that?
That was Tuesday.
Tuesday. And what we talked about today too. The earth, the air, and so forth. Okay, so let me go back. So again, it takes time. It takes time for you to make a judgment. It takes time to make friends of your breath. Your breath is your best friends forever until you pass away. And since you better make friends of that. If you know, when people sick, especially the elder one, it's not easy for them to breathe in and out. We take it for granted. But if you look, the elder people, right, they carry the oxygen box, oxygen bottle around, it's very hard for them, right? So that's why if you take care of your breath, your mind more peaceful. Or when you have a slower and deeper breath, your mind will be slower too. And when your mind is slower and peaceful, it's more calm and clear. All right. So let's start to practice 1 minute. Okay. Usually, I show people to practice 1 minute at a time. It's better than to sit for an hour and let the mind roll around. Okay. So relax yourself. Okay. You relax yourself, and you can close your eye, open your eye a little bit. Just follow your breath naturally. Don't use any force. The last time I explained to you, don't use any force, mentally and physically. Just imagine your body is like the breathing machine. Just recognize us. Just follow this. Inhale and exhale. You know, inhalation, exhalation. You know, and you count. Inhale, exhale, count 1. Inhale, exhale, count 2, and continuously. Right? So take it easy. Relax yourself. Relax your mind. Relax your body. Don't try to do anything. Just be aware of your breath and count your breath, that's all. Okay? So let's do 1 minute then. Do you count? How many?
I didn't count.
Count.
I think it was like 10.
10, 13,
5,
You count.
7.
5.
10,
You count.
8.
You count too. You count.
I think it was
That's
like
okay.
9.
Yeah. So that's a practice. You do 1 minute at a time. You need to do. The important is to train your mind to focus. So in that minute, you really focus your mind to breath, and of course, if you miscount, you can go back. But most of the time, 1 minute is still quick, right? And you can extend to 2, by 3, by 4. If you miscount, go back. So that's mind training. Of course, in normal day, normal activities, we don't pay attention much of the things. We don't really focus on things. But when we're taking the test, when we have interview, right, some critical moments, we really need to focus our mind. Otherwise, we could not finish our job, or we could not be successful, or when we deal with other people too. So get the training. That's my training. So any question before we move on? So okay, let's say we review one more time about I don't cover you guys, right? Is this okay? I stand here, it's okay. Let me see. I need to stand over here. Okay, so you see that oxygen, half of our body needs oxygen. That's why if we don't inhale enough oxygen, we'll be sick. This easily, and here, oxygen occupy 61% of our body, especially with the breath. And you know, many people, they're so stressed out that they could not breathe in and out easily. That's why they may have heart attack or stroke and so forth. So that's why when you inhale and exhale normally, it's easy for you to get enough oxygen for your body. And here, use 20% of total oxygen and blood in your body. So that's why it's just oxygen is the resource to your life and through the breath. And here, we inhale oxygen and it purifies through the lung and go to the cell. And this one, red cell blood need oxygen from the lung. Oxygen released to the tissue cell.
Thank you.
We know, right? We input the oxygen, water, food, and we throw out carbon dioxide, water, and this is a cycle of life. And oxygen, especially, you know, later on when we study about the benefit of meditation, when we inhale enough oxygen, we slow down the aging. We're more healthy because we have that kind of resources in our life, in our body. Here, shallow breathing only feel on the top of pardon is not enough. You will not have enough oxygen. If you have, remember last time we talked about the chest breathing. If you have deep breathing, fill up your lung fully, so you have more healthy, you have more energy. And this is the physical reaction. Abundant oxygen content, you be happy. If you feel happy, normal. And if you don't have the oxygen, you feel weak, dizziness, and so forth. And that's just one. Okay, again, that's just a technique. It's better to have deep breathing, but remember, you don't need to force yourself. Even now, you still have chest breathing, that's okay. That's okay, you can follow your breath. Eventually, our body mechanism will have like adaptation to have deep breathing. If you use your force, it won't work. So remember that, right? Even we have a shallow breath, don't worry. Just do it naturally, and eventually you get more. Here, normal, which is affect to our brain. You see that? This normal breathing, hyperventilation. You won't have it if you don't have enough oxygen. You will be stop, and we have some more chair if you need.
Thank you.
So that's why this class is just, you learn it because I can call you. As my 2% here, so I will present I can call you then.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, okay, let's see. The name again, please?
Number 6, Kimberly.
Okay. So in this class again, I told you that yes, we learn a lot. We read a lot of paper, a lot of books and so forth, articles and so forth. But this is more practical. It's more helpful for your life. I hope that you get some more things from this class. This will be helpful in present and future life too. Okay, so again, this body Here they put in the kilograms. 1 kilogram about more than 2 pounds. The relative weight in the water. Okay, here today we talk about the 4 elements within our body. And the air, we know the air, the fire, the water, the earth. Okay, the taste. Okay, here this is our body, the nature, our body, stomach, eyes, and so forth. The sense, the eyes, the nose, the body, and the tongue, and so forth. In this human body system here. If we take part of them, pieces, all kind of organs, and so forth. Here's the eyes, and the organs here. The tongue, we taste with the food, the taste bud session. And there's some people, they have this kind of jobs, right? They taste the ice cream, certain type of food, right? You know that? Here, there's 28 types of materiality, earth elements. Heavy earth group, hardest, roughness, heaviness, light earth group, softness, smoothness, lightness. This is like the earth, heavy earth, the earth, the rock, and so forth. Water has the characters flowing, cohesion, fried, hot, and cold. Air elements supporting and pushing. Okay, and this is talk about the 5 types of transparent elements of the eyes, ears, and nose, body, and tongue. And 7 types of feel materialities: color, or light, sound, smell, odors, flavor, or taste, touch. We have touch with the earth, we can touch with the fire, and touch with the air. And 2 types of materiality of male and female. 5 types of materialities and iteration. Lightness, the lightness of real materials produced by the consciousness, produced by our mind. The lightness of real materiality produced by temperature of 5 elements. Here, what we understand what it means, the lightness of real material produced by consciousness. That's mean our mind. That's whenever we think of something, we make it. Like in your mind, you want to draw pictures, right, online or on the computer, and you print out that to materialize that kind of picture, image that you draw in on your computer. And the lightness of reality, materiality produced by temperature of 5 elements. Like you burn the paper, you burn the wood. The lightness of real material produced by nutrition, like you consume the food and so forth. That's for your nutrition. The softness produced by consciousness, again, depend upon your mind, whichever things you want to produce. Softness of real materiality produced by temperature, again too. Like sometimes we have hot temperature, sometimes we have cold temperature. That's softness there. The weirdness of produced by consciousness, weirdness of blindness and material produced by temperature, the same thing too. And here, 4 types of materialities are characteristics. Growth of materiality has a characteristic of occurring at the beginning of the materiality of one life. It's like the eggs, right? Like the unborn child in the wombs. It's the beginning of things. Or when you plant a seed to the ground, it starts to grow. Is the course of growth or completion of faculties. So it's the process, like you put the seed down to the ground, and it grows naturally and continuously. That's what this means. And Asian, yes, like it happened to everything. We are getting older, not younger, right? And impermanence, one day we have to go to trees. When it's mature enough, it may die down soon. Probably, of course, some tree may last 100 years, even 1,000 years, but still one day they have to go. So do we. And the nature of maturity, they arise at the same time, cease at the same time, depend upon the condition, depend upon things. The same material in the same calibers mean the smallest particles. This is the sacred words. Something that arises at the same time. So like we wake up around 5 o'clock, for example, to go to school. We'll be here about our class about 10 o'clock. We come here at the same time. And after we're done with the class, we leave this class. And so it depends upon each other to learn and to study. Here, earth elements, like we just mentioned about hardness, the rock, right? Roughness, heaviness, softness, smoothness, lightness. So these are the characteristics of earth elements. We could feel, could recognize, right? Water elements, floating, cohesion, right? We're floating, and it stays together. We can mention about heat, fire elements, heat and coldness. Air elements, holding and pushing. What's mean? You know what's mean? The air we inhale and exhale, it supports our life, and our body circulate the oxygen and carbon dioxide. That's what was about supporting and pushing them. And 12 parts of the body with water elements, the predominance, right? About flame, pulse, blood, sweat, fat, and so forth. You recognize us, right? And this one here, this is our water, the body, the fluid in our body. And it says that we have 60% of liquid. In fact, we have 70%, other 60%. Other people, they have 50%. And this is the percentage of the fluid that we have in our body. That's what we depend upon. That's why we drink the water every day. They say that probably we need to drink at least 1 gallon per day. Is that right? Who work in nutrition? No. Okay, so here depends. Some of them say human body we have 75% of water, and the water makeup is of male and female will be a little bit different too. And this here, the brain, is the percentage of the water in the brain, the kidney, and so forth. Alright, so that is just about the water elements in our body. And heat elements, body, right? Without this type of heat, we would not be here. Alright, especially for the deaf people. Right? Heat occurs maturing and aging. Heat of fever, when we have fever, it's too hot in our body. Digestive heat, we have that type of energy in our body, multiply. Here, you know, the U.S. Army, they design some kind of I don't know what called thermal. What's that?
Thermal sights.
Thermal sensor.
Yeah.
Right, to detect people, especially for ISIS students around. So they detect them by using that kind of thermal sensor. That is the heat that flow within our body. And you see the heat, it depends upon our personality, depends upon our state of mind too. It's here. Where you feel, where do you feel emotions? Here. Can you see it? Anger? Look at the heat up here. Fear? Here. disgust and happiness, you feel the energy overwhelm of your body, right? And sadness is a little bit here, surprise, neutral, anxiety, love. Wow. Only when you are happy, you see that you overwhelmed with energy, overwhelmed with the heat. Pride, contempt, shame, envy. Okay, so that's the heat they measure or they characterize when we have that kind of emotions. And talk about the air, the air within our body, the air just go up, rise up and go down. The air, our abdomens, outside of intestine, inside intestine. The air that pervade through the limbs, in and out breath. That's air. That's air what we need to have. It's the air here. Okay, we know we consume oxygen and we throughout the carbon dioxide, the gas exchange around. We know that, right? Without the trees, we could not. The trees or the forest is like the lung of our earth. So there's many people they concerned about the forest, you know, right? They cut down the trees, and that's why we have pollution. Why we have all kind of earthquake or hurricanes. They come. You guys have any relatives or friends in Florida?
Yeah.
There's another one about to hit Mexico too. There's another one in like the Gulf of Mexico right now.
Really?
It's going down into Mexico.
Irma and Jose.
Oma is coming.
Oh, and Katia.
There's 3 right now.
Yeah.
There's 2 by Mexico.
Incredible for this year.
We do something to piss off someone. Like, this is ridiculous. Well, it's Mother Nature. She's finally fighting back. No, for real, we have destroyed this earth.
Yeah, that's happened. That's happened. You know, if people in China they pollute the earth, we really can affect it because this is the global warming, global pollutions. That's why we have to take care about ourselves and others. And that's why we need to discuss more about compassion. That's what we talk today too. Okay, again, this is the air qualities that sometimes you see when you driving on the freeway. They put design air qualities. Do they put the air qualities here? No, not here. In Louisville, Kentucky, they put the signs that talk about the air qualities.
They probably don't want us to know.
Actually, I'm curious.
Did they have it?
I'm about to find out.
Yeah.
I think they have it like on the Weather Channel and stuff.
The good and bad of indoor air quality, right? On the attic, door, and so in some area in our house, even the school too. Somehow the air is capitalized, right, in this area, so we could not have the fresh air. That's why before taking the test, try to walk around, right, to consume more fresh air for yourself. We have one more chair for the test. It was a little, you know. So remember that we need air, we need oxygen. So 61% of our body is oxygen.
It's at like 68 right now.
Yeah. Okay, here. Of total, 8 million worldwide deaths per year from air pollution. Over half, I say, to have been caused from indoor air pollution.
So like cigarette smoke?
Probably. You know, sometimes.
Working in a factory.
Yeah, sometimes I don't know whether you know, sometimes people use, somehow the gas was leaking.
Like carbon monoxide?
The gas, actually when it was like more than 20 years ago, I went to do the further service with the monks for whole families. At night, the gas was leaking and 6 people died. So that's what you have to be careful, especially the whole house. So, okay, and this is the major weight in the body. Okay, and oxygen, sometimes this is 65, 61%. And now 20 parts of the bodies with earth elements. Now remember, in this particular sutra, the Buddha classifies or divides item by items. Within our body, we have the earth elements, we have the air elements, we have the heat elements, and wind elements, and so forth. So that's what we call about earth elements in our body. The hair, the body hair, the nails, the teeth, the skin, that belong to earth elements and so forth. The bone, we know, right? So these are the earth elements of our body, and especially the skeleton, right? You guys know how long most of the time when we pass away, the skeleton will be the man, and the teeth, how long will be the decay of teeth?
It's a long time. That's how we identify most people who are mental.
Yeah. Well, again, this is a topic that is related to the earth elements, and of course it has the faculties, the controllers property of this body too. The temperature, the nutrition, the eyes, ears, the nose, tongue, and these 4 kinds of rupa. Rupa means the earth elements. Kalabas, this means the smallest particle, smallest particles of weight of all elements. Is related to the temperature, it relates to the sound, the light, and so forth. Have you guys read this part? Okay. Yeah. So that's why I highlight this for you to follow. And 2 kinds of rupa kalabas produced by nutrition. We need the nutrition to preserve our body. The lightness. In our body, if we don't have any space for our organs, we could not live. You understand? That's what we call the lightness here, or the space here. Okay, here this is related to the nutrition that we need for our body. Okay, 3 types. They have 3 types of sound. They did from the consciousness that we break when we think about something. We say something out verbally. The sound temperatures. We can measure that too. Okay, so. But that's why the Buddha said that we need to recognize that these bodies were composed by that kind of 4 basic elements: the earth, the air, the water, and the fire or the heat. Okay, so that's why I want to go over with you briefly about these 4 important elements that we have within the body. And again, the reason why the Buddha provides this type of teaching, because if we want to focus on one of these elements, that is the type of practice meditations. Some sutra say that there's one story that one monk, he focused on the water. He focused his mind on the water. So intense that somehow his body become part of water too. I don't know whether you recognize or not. Probably it's beyond our thinking, right? So if, I don't know, you know, if you watch some video clips on YouTube, some Hindu monks or Buddhist monks, if they really focus on the fire, they won't be burned by fire. There's some techniques there, but the important is if you really focus on some type of elements, you are one with that elements. Probably you may not imagine much. Let's say when you love to write, right? Write essays or write your books or whatever. You're in one with your writing, is that right? No matter what people say, you don't pay attention out there. You understand that? So that's what talk about the concentration. That's is the thing. Yes.
The same thing I've seen and read things about monks being able to meditate and keep their body temperature up in freezing temperatures. Is that using that same?
Yeah, we have our body, also our mind has that strength. Our mind have that kind of power to control our body, but because we could not focus our mind too much. That's why it's not easy for us to control our body temperatures. So that's why. But step by step, as much as we have that kind of mind training, we will have that kind of ability. Everybody has that kind of abilities because we have so much distraction about everything in life. That's why it's not easy to focus on mind. Okay, so that's one part that I want to discuss today. Another part is so important in our life. What for today? Love and kindness, compassion. That's what we talk today. That's one part of meditation too. It depends upon each individual's needs. Let's say if you want to focus on the beauty of the flower, that's some sort of meditation too. In essence, or like when you walk around your garden, you look at your flower, you look at your trees and leaves and fruits of all. If you focus on that, that's my training too. So that's why the Buddha provide varieties of techniques, of objects, of meditations. That is up to you. When you go to school, they have all kinds of majors for you to choose from. You won't be limited. Like you need you need to be engineer or doctor or so forth. Depend upon what you want to learn. So again, that's four elements. Is one of the techniques of meditations for you to focus on. And sometimes you may focus on the light of candles, right? But importance I want to mention is no matter what type of object you focus on, you have to focus on the neutral one. You understand what I'm talking about? What's meant the neutral one? If you think about your loved one, for example, your girlfriends and boyfriends, what happen then? You will go with your emotion. Make sense? And what happens if you focus on someone that you don't like? You can label them as enemies. What happens then? You have more anger. So it's better to train our mind to stabilize is by focusing on the neutral object, the flower, the light candles, the earth, the water, right, and so forth. So the important is to stabilize the mind, not to disturb mentality, because every day we have so much of things happening here. Our mind racing, right? So that's why we need to calm it down by focus on the neutral object. And here, what we talk about love and kindness. Why we're so important. That's in Buddhism. We need to develop that type of love and kindness and compassion. You know why? Remember when even before we were born, we have that kind of love from our mom, right? Without love, we will not be here. Love is so important, and up to now too. Up to now, we catch each other at home, at work, at school without caring, without loving, without helping others, we would not be here. So that's why it's universal in other traditions that encourage us to develop this type of loving kindness and compassion, especially in Buddhism. So that we could be with others, so that we could be helpful with others. Right? So here compassion. Before I move on, let me show you the video clips that actually happened recently here in Houston.
We're champions, we
So who did go out to help? What did you do?
I went to BBVA Thursday
Where's
through
that?
Sunday, right in downtown Houston. And we
The
had-
stadium.
The stadium.
Oh, the stadium.
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
That's where they have all the Dynamo soccer games or
I see.
football.
How many people?
I
More
would
than
say
10,000?
no, we couldn't house that many. I would say maybe closer to 2,000 people.
It's smaller than the
Yes,
NRG?
much smaller, like maybe half the size. But
Okay.
it was mostly there. Well, I was doing donations, so I was the one like helping pack donations, file donations, put into the system.
Mhm.
Because the donations came to us and we sent them to different churches around the county.
You do?
Yeah.
Where?
I did it Lakewood. So
Where?
volunteer
Where?
at
your
the church.
Okay. Is it still, people still there now? Or they left? Or they
I
left?
think they kind of like cleared it out.
And you do anything? Anyone with you? Anyone with you? What do you do?
I walked around and my neighborhood flooded, so I went around and checked on all the elderly and stuff, made sure everyone was all right, helped a few get to higher ground, some kids and stuff, because it was above their head. So we had to carry them out. 'Cause it was like chest high in some areas, so we literally had to like, pick them up and carry them out in the water. So,
Yeah, I remember that this is in Sunday evening. It's the worst times, right? My temple almost flooded. It got to the edge, but it didn't go. If it was when not a couple hours or 3 hours, we flooded. But somehow it's got there twice and got there and retreat twice. And on Monday morning, I went out. I don't know whether you know, if you live in Sugarland area, 1464 is flooding down there, P-Bar. And so many subdivisions were flooded, and people use the boat and so forth to help them out, even at night too. And I saw many kind people. Like I said, most of the time we don't know each other, but they step out to help Buddhist people. And you guys know the news, right? The 3 Hispanic gentlemen, they died.
Yeah.
You know, right? They died while they were helping, rescuing people, and one policeman who died too. So there's many people. They at that moment they sacrifice their life for others. That's the kindness. It's universal. It's not limited for Buddhists. It's everyone. We have that type of kindness. With that, we have the kind of compassion within ourselves. So the only thing is that we need to develop in a full way so that we care for others. So that's why in Buddhism, meditation on the loving kindness and compassion is so important. So that whenever people need help, we step out, be ready to step out to help. If we're not ready, it's not easy. So if we have second thought, or why we need to help that friend guy, that friend lady, if we have that kind of thought, it will stop us right away. And of course, actually, I really would like to do a lot of things, but because I'm so busy with my teaching, so I could not do much for communities. But at least my place is one of the small temporary shelters, and some people came to our shelter to stay for a few days too. And since Friday, when the times up, Friday evening when they start to have, when we start to have the storm coming, people keep calling us because they know we are a small shelter to donate the food and clothes. And even yesterday, some people still calling me to help out, but I told them that we have enough food to share with other people. They can bring to other larger shelters. And one particular man just called me yesterday that he had a shipment from Dallas, that people will come down from Dallas, but I want to accept not enough. We have enough, so it's better to bring to the NRG. Said they still have people over there.
Yeah, they've been saying like they've had enough volunteers. That, like they reject volunteers at this point.
Yeah, volunteer. That's good then. That's pretty good. and it's now Ima, right? We call Ima.
Irma.
Right? It comes
Something
down
even faster.
to Florida, and they have one center in Atlanta. Some of my Buddhist people they would go from Savannah to Atlanta to stay there for a few days too. Somehow we were been by Holy Conference Hall for this year. Let's be about what we pray for them. But at least sometimes in this type of crisis situations, people come together to help each other, no matter who we are. And so that's just the loving kindness and compassion that everyone has that. And not only people, as people, we have that even the pet, right, the dog and the cows, they have, or they rescue people too, right? So that's why in Buddhism, compassion, loving kindness is so important, that we need to develop compassion, a profound feelings, a merciful action, supportive compassion, companionship in distress. And now they say more than 200,000 houses were flooded, and I saw many volunteers to go here and there to help to clean up. At the time, I really like to gather a group of young people to help out with them, because I'm so busy to prepare for the class, so could not do much for this time. I went down to Mississippi right after Katrina. At that time, you guys still young, right? It's more terrible out there. Some of your halls have people after Katrina here. You have a lot.
Yeah, in my high school, I remember we had like 75 new students come.
Oh, really?
Yeah, after Katrina.
It's devastation, huh?
Really bad.
Yeah. At least because of the flood, it's caused a problem. But over there, when they had the Katrina, it's blew up everything. They say about 1,800 people died along the coastal area. So we lost 60 people this time. Hopefully, people will overcome the next few hurricanes. Okay, so the compassion with Mother Teresa, and that's what we want to show and help out for people. Verbally, non-verbally, and behavior. People don't need to talk much. They just step out to help. And it's be a good example for young generation, young people. Compassion. Do I show compassion when they hand $1 to a street person, to homeless? Sometimes, right? Actually, in Houston, we have a lot of homeless people around, and in my class member last year, I almost every month I went to downtown Houston to give food and bring to homeless people. But somehow the city now they stop. They don't want us to do anymore.
Yeah,
You know why?
My boyfriend's apartment. So he lives by Main Street in Fannin, and so where his apartment is, there's a McDonald's and a Greyhound right there. And so in his apartment, there's a lot of older, wealthy people who have had the apartment for a very long time. And once the Greyhound and the McDonald's was built a couple years ago, a lot of homeless people. And so they're telling people to not give them any money, do not give them any food, do not help them because they want them out. So a lot of people are complaining to the city that please do something about this homeless population. The city's just don't support them. And so they just...
Actually, I went there many times to give food right there at that corner. Greyhound.
It's pretty bad.
It's very bad. It's very, the thing is, they won't bother you until you bother them, but people just don't like seeing that when they wake up in the morning, unfortunately. And I don't know how
I've had pretty bad experiences when they've come up to me and like whispered in my ear, or when I used to go to UT in Austin, so I'd ride the bus and I'd have to wait to get picked up, and they would use the restroom in like chip bags and like pull their pens down and like use it behind them, and I'd have to stand and wait there, or I'd go inside. But I've had pretty bad experience. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but when I've been there, I was just like,
I'm sure that's why they just want them gone.
Yeah.
So
Of course, you know, this has happened in every city, and of course for the homeless people, we don't know many of them are drug addicts, you know, drug user and so forth, and of course some of them they cannot handle the rent. If they lost their jobs, not talking about after this hurricanes, after this flooding.
There's gonna be a lot more.
So that's why, but still somehow we need to be compassionate to those people. And many famous people, they were homeless before too, right? And you know, in life it's up and down, right? Sometimes we have good times, sometimes we have bad times, and it's not easy to handle. Like last time you asked me the question, when you are going to take a test, that test may determine your jobs, may determine your grade, it may determine the diploma. It's be scared, right? It's not easy to handle. But again, so the practical sense is just taking us, just try your best to study, try your best to solve the problems, and if it's out your reach, just let them go, and just accept the outcome. It's not easy. It's not easy to deal with this kind of situation. Actually, last couple of days I have a Florence. She finished up her college degree in pharmacy, and now she's taking the license test, and she failed. She did only 1 point. So she's so desperate. It's not easy to deal when you are in that kind of situation. And you may lose. Actually, she has a part-time job. With her contingency is that she needs to pass the test to have the license. She only 1 point. It's not easy to deal. So that's life. And they told her, don't worry, life is up and down. You take the test. Just try to overcome these difficulties. Especially you guys still young. Don't think this is the dead end. Just try your best to overcome. This is if we in Vietnamese we say if we look up, we could not be compared with anyone else. If we look down, no one will be compared with us. You understand that?
Yeah.
So just be content. Just accept the situation. Try your best. Sometimes it's not easy. So we need to have that type of patience to deal with things, and with this kind of compassion, we can help each other too. And even we have to be compassionate, toward our body and mind too. Especially when we fail the test, when we could not get the job that we want to, right, and so forth. So it's not easy to do. So at first you need to be compassionate with yourself, and you can spread compassion toward other people. That's why here this type of teaching is so important. This at least our many stories, right, that we just watched. There's many more stories about the one who stepped out to help people, and they offer the whole apartments. Just imagine if you have a house. If you have second thought, it's not easy for you to host a stranger in your house. There's many doubts about the strangers, right? But if you have compassion, just help them out, that's all. So it's not easy. There's many people, they like to take out, but somehow because they've got a second thought that stops them, that they have that's so much hesitation to step out. So in emergency cases, like this kind of problem that happened recently, the just test out to see whether we are willing to help or not. Whether we want to sacrifice our life, sacrifice our times, our money and so forth to help others or not. That's the test too. But in Buddhist view, it is universal. When we talk about karma, when you help others will help you out too. when help others, others will recognize that type of system, that type of support, that type of generosity. So this is mainly story that I put up here. The mettā is a meditation, love and kindness. So this start with the Buddha when he sent a group of monks to the forest, and somehow they scare of ghosts in the forest. Anyone, you've been in the forest by yourself before?
Yeah.
At night too.
The hike?
At night.
At night?
Yeah.
Really? It's
Yeah.
scary?
Yeah. Heck yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
When was that? Last year or when you were young?
It was like 2-3 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You just went there for hiking?
I was like camping,
okay.
but I like went off on my own and I was walking.
And you got lost or?
No, it was just like you hear things and it's like you don't know what's
even
there.
during the day.
Yeah, that's it.
Snake, all kind of wild animals around you, and even at night, it's scary.
It's even worse at night.
Mm-hmm.
You hear
You don't
crickets
know.
and
It's
stuff.
just creepy, right? You don't know all kind of sounds, all kind of wild animals. I have not stayed in the forest before, but I stayed in the seclusion before. And at night, it's because our properties in California is just nearby the forest. And at night, you saw all kind of strange sounds you could not imagine. Yeah, that's why it scared them when the Buddha sent them to the forest. It scared them, and so what happened? The Buddha said that so the Buddha reminded them just recite this kind of sutra, compassionate sutra, or compassionate teachings. This will be helpful for them and for whoever, invisible beings, what we call angel, ghost, or deities and so forth. So let's start from this kind of teaching too. Another teaching is when one monk he meditated in the forest, he was bitten by a snake, and after that the monks report to the Buddha, and the Buddha told them, if that monk recite my compassionate teaching, you will not be bitten by the snake. Of course, that's just come from the Buddha, but somehow, when we are compassionate, when we don't want to harm others, it's easy for us to resolve that type of hatred, energy from others. And that's what we call a fire cannot extinguish a fire, right? Mm-hmm. Only the water of compassion can extinguish the fire of anger. That's it's universal. This is universal. It is what the Buddha taught the monks. Let's start with that type of compassion, love and kindness, goodwill, friendliness, benevolence, concord, and love. Remember last time we studied about the right intention. Remember that? We mentioned recently, right? Yeah. So we have that type of mindset in. So that whenever we do things with this type of love and kindness, goodwill, friendliness, and so forth, we can help other people. If we harbor hatred, anger, jealousy, and so forth, not easy for us to help others. Especially like last week, thing happened last week. If we still have so much doubt about poor people, strangers, no way, no one person step out to help. So that's why it's so important for us to have this kind of teaching, this kind of understanding and knowledge, so that we can help others, especially with our family members, community, and so forth. Mettā is develop self-interest. One with mettā has the attitude of a friend who wants to give another the best to further well-being. Yeah, of course. I feel so sorry for those three Hispanic gentlemen, the one who lost their life while they were rescuing other people. Did you guys read this story? What's about?
So they went on a boat to rescue people, and they didn't know that there was cord, like electricity in the water. So when they stepped in there, they got electrocuted.
Oh yeah. Which part of the city?
I don't remember where it was. It was pretty bad.
Yeah. Some of them stopped them before they went back, right?
Yeah, they were going back to rescue some more. Like 2 of them survived. They hanged on a tree. The others.
Yeah, 3 died and two were maybe 2. So that's what. Only when you have that kind of selflessness, you could step out to help. If you still have a second thought, doubt, and so forth, it's the hindrance. And we study about that later on. The 5 hindrances of our practice of meditation, and especially it's so important. When you sit there, what happens? When you sit, even it's 1 minute, 2 minutes, and so forth. If you have so much anger in your mind, can you calm your mind down? There's no way. It's not easy. If you have so much worriness, if you have so much jealousy and so forth, the negative thought, negative intention, and so forth, you couldn't calm your mind. So that's why the meditation on compassion is so important. It calm your mind. When you think about others, you don't harbor any hatred, any animosity toward them. At least you calm your mind. That's why in any traditions we talk about forgiveness, right? Even someone step on our foot, someone harm us, but even at least we forgive. We let go within our mind by forgive, like that type of act, the act of forgiveness. So it's combination. It is interlinked with compassion. Here, just as mothers give her whole life to protect her child. You guys have any children yet? Not yet. You have 1, 2. 1. Yeah.
12.
Boy or girl?
Boy.
Even we know, right? Some parents, or most parents, they really sacrifice their life for their children. They may not care much about themselves when they deal with the crisis situation there. Okay, here, that's just what here. Our activities can be into mental and physical. So our mind is our mind direct to all activities. So that's why in Buddhism the mind is so important. That you need to have that mind training. And of course, we know it's suffering. We have physical, mental, simply because of the farmers and so forth. Okay, we have a good lesson about the suffering here. The Buddha said that if anger arises, just let go and be patient with the anger and be compassionate with the one who is suffering, like the one who lost their house, the one whose house was flooded, and even the people in Florida and South Carolina and so forth. They have to evacuate from the storm, from hurricane. We have that type of compassion toward that type of people, and direct enemies of mettā, loving kindness, is combined. Is the intertwin. Mettā and karuna is anger. So is that of karuna is cruelty. So again, contemplate this 3-step contemplation of danger of anger and of cruelty. Right? What happens when we have too much anger in our mind? We'll be sick. Right? We burn ourselves. Remember the image, the hit image that we have recently, right? If we are happy, with that type of happiness, we feel that type of energy, it's flowing in our body. But if we have that type of anger, it's burning ourselves first before we burn others. And contemplate the benefit of compassion. We will talk about the 11 benefits of having compassion. Have you ever read that one? Not yet? Okay. Growing compassion for our suffering beings. The object of compassion is suffering beings. and so we have to see the suffering of our beings. So in this class, we just see what happened recently. So this is the lesson for us to recognize. Okay, extreme case when we're angry, it develops into a violent action against others. And it's easy for us to inflict harms onto others if we have that type of anger. That's why the Buddha say, laying aside violence in this bed, all living beings in the world, but those who are still with move, those with move, you should not kill living creatures, not cause to kill, or not allow, not even encourage other people to kill. We cannot kill, we cannot encourage other people to kill, or show other people how to kill and so forth. So that's why in the high Buddhist tradition that we, especially at our temple, we don't eat any kind of meat. We respect life, and even the young people, we try to instill this kind of concept for them, this kind of principle for them when they're still young. They're not supposed to slap the fly. Not supposed to kill even the mosquito or so forth. Of course, sometimes it's not easy, right?
My aunt's like that. My aunt's like that.
What is that?
My aunt's a Buddhist nun, so she, like, whenever you see a cockroach or like a fly or anything, she's like, do not touch it, like, just swat it away, like, till they go away.
What happens if you have ants run around your house, cross around your house?
I don't know.
You don't know how? She stays home now. She stays at the temple now.
She stays at home, but like every year she has to spend like a couple like weeks at a temple, like because she has a job.
Huh?
Yeah.
Probably you guys may not understand, you know, why some people they release the birds, they release the fish, the crabs, turtles. You can have not seen that before. It's not in this Western tradition, right?
What do they do?
They release the birds. They let go of the birds. They let go of the fish. They let go of the animals.
They let it go?
No, like they just get them. And then
they buy from the store.
Yeah.
Oh.
They buy from the store. Actually, after most of my special celebration at my temple, people would buy these type of animals and release them to the pond, to the creek, the river, and so forth. That probably so strength for you guys, right?
It's really fun.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Especially in these communities, in Houston area, there's so many people, especially if they are sincere Buddhists. Almost every week they buy something. They buy some animals, whether the fish, the crabs, turtles, of birds. They release them. That's a form of kindness to animals. When you care with the little animals, when you don't dare to kill them, there's no way for you to harm other people. You understand that? If you can shoot a pig or cows with a gun, it's easy to kill others. I remember this one, actually one monk, he was a doctor in, I think in San Antonio. Even he's still monks now. Yeah, he remembered that, and he told me that during his birthday party, he used a gun to shoot a cow to slaughter, so that they had the fish with that cow. And a few years later, his daughter was shot in the head, like the way that he shoot the cows on the head. And from that time on, he became a monk.
It's karma.
You can say the karma.
That's the worst type.
That's why compassion is so important. Compassion, that we care for little animals up to human beings. So that's why the Buddha say that whenever we have the hatred in our mind, it's not easy to control our emotion. Who knows, right? If people have so much anger, so much hatred, whichever things, that's when they're rich. These little things may be weapons, right? This bell can be weapons if they're angry towards someone else. So that's why the Buddha advised us that we need to step aside or let go of this kind of violent act, that type of anger, that type of hatred. That intention is so important. So what happens if you walk around and step on the ant, on the broken sofa, unintentionally? Would you create karma? Unintentionally? No. Only when you have intention. Of course, this is reasonable, right? When you have intention to hit other people with your car, whichever, yeah, it's more severe, right? Then while you drive in the car, somehow the deer jump out. It's happened to some of you before? It happened?
Cat.
Jump to your house, your car?
I used to live out down in the country, so I think I've probably hit 15 deer in my life.
15?
Yeah.
That's a lot of deer.
I've had one actually run in, like I had a dent in my car for the longest time because it ran into the side of my car, like right at my window. And I was just like,
your window?
yeah.
But we're told in driving school that we should hit the animal.
What's that?
We're told in driving school to hit the animal because more deaths happen if we try and avoid it. Most
If
people
you swerve
into trees or
Yeah.
oncoming traffic.
This happened to me once when I was driving in Indiana. You know, we have, I think, 2 lanes,
Yeah.
and they stay in the middle one. they sat on the middle one, they have to maneuver around. Yeah, and some of my people, they hit some of them too. Some of you too?
I had a cat, I think. I think it was like underneath my car as I went past, and I don't know if I heard anything.
A small one and a big one?
It was a small black cat, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know. Somehow it's out of control. If we don't have intention, that's just the karma, you know. But if we have intention, it's quite different. That's why we encourage people, especially Buddhist people, not to do the fishing. Some of you, some people, some young people, they like to do fishing, especially in the river, creek, right?
I catch and release them. Yeah.
But for fun.
For fun.
And in California, they somehow they release the bird and they shoot. That's kind of sport.
Oh?
In California, they release some kind of, I don't know, big birds like the chicken. They get them fly up to the air and use their gun to shoot down. That's a sport.
Cool.
I think it's
That's so cool.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah. So somehow people they don't understand. That's why especially you guys so blessed. You guys have that type of knowledge and information. Right? We understand why we need to develop this type of kindness and compassion toward other people instead of harbor the anger and hatred toward other people. So that's why it's this important teaching here. Hatred is never created by hatred, it is created by love. This is eternal truth. This is universal. Okay, here. What happened? I used to ask my student, what happened if someone come to your house and point the gun to your siblings or your families? What should you do? Point the gun to your family members. What should you do? You stand there. What should you do?
Shoot, I would.
You have gun at home?
No, I just want to try to do something. I don't have a gun, but.
So that's why many people think that the Buddhists are so pessimistic, are so passive. It's not that the case. It's not the case. If your family members are there, you should try your best to defend them. And even me, I encourage the young people to learn some kind of Kung Fu. We have Kung Fu class.
That's why there's Shaolin monks, that's why there's Shaolin.
To have self-defense,
Yeah.
not to harm others. When, yes, in that type of situation, we need to defend ourselves, to help other people to defend. And of course, we use force, use our strength to protect ourselves, only not to harm others. So in our class we talk about what happened if some Buddhist soldier, is that okay for them to be soldiers?
Torturers?
No, soldier.
Soldiers.
Uh-huh. What do you think?
I think there was a couple of, there was some that were soldiers, right?
So for us, that's fine. As long as they protect people,
That's okay.
that's fine. As long as they don't misuse the weapons. Of course, they have to follow the rules. But of course, usually I encourage the young people if they want to enlist into the armies and so forth. It's better to stay at home, to stay here, to enlist into the National Guard or Coast Guard. Don't go overseas. This is danger for their life, and of course, when you carry a gun, you don't know what happened. And I had one follower. She went to Afghanistan for her assignment for 6 months. This is scary for her and the whole family members. But she got back safely. Anyway, so again, we talk this kind of compassion. Again, so that's Tuesday, and I think this would be helpful for you guys, for your life to develop this type of loving kindness and compassion for all people, and apply them to your daily life.
Okay, can someone practice mettā but not be vegetarian? How do you feel about that?
We talk about that.
Okay.
That's a good question.
Do you believe in like eating dairy?
Me?
Or even general, is it okay for dairy like cheese?
Yeah, for people that's okay, but for us we don't
No
so
dairy.
many have animal product.
Okay. So you're vegan or vegetarian?
I don't go so many types. I say we get so many types.
No animal byproducts. Oh.
Eggs, cheese,
I wish.
Oh, I see you then. All right. Thank you.